Some cute girls in red. ขอโทษครับทำไมใส่สูทแบบนี้ครับ
Today we have dance contest.
Dance contest?
Third form.
Oh, is it like university dance
No,
contest?
no, it's like free.
Free?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
One can come to.
is it like K-pop or
yes,
Jap-
K-pop.
Oh, K-pop. Okay, they got K-pop dance contest. Cool. Good luck. Chokdi clap, chokdi. Alright guys, so you just watched the video of me living good over here in Asia, having a life of freedom. And probably a lot of you guys, you want the same thing for yourself, right? Like you might be making, 80 grand, 100 grand, 120 grand a year. And those numbers sound great, but when you look at your bank account and you look at how you feel every day and you look at your overall life, you might not feel like you're very successful. Maybe you feel like, you're not getting a lot of value for everything you supposedly have. A lot of guys are making more money than their parents ever made. But you might feel like, I'm more stressed. I don't have any power. Like I feel weak. I'm not getting what I want. And you're not crazy. Like a lot of guys feel this way. The fact is that the American dream got repriced while you were grinding, working hard. So you're not getting the same value out of your hard work and your money as you could have before. So today we're going to talk about why it was the six-figure trap in America, why that's a trap people get stuck in, and how you can probably move to a better environment where your hard work and your dollar stretches further. So one of the biggest lies that a lot of guys are fed in America is that a bigger salary automatically means a better life. That's true until you factor in the rising cost of living, dating gets more expensive, food gets more expensive, everything gets more expensive to the point where you're not actually getting a lot of value out of that bigger salary that you're supposedly earning. And it's actually super expensive to maintain a decent life in America, especially living in one of the bigger cities like New York, Los Angeles, Miami. It can be very expensive to maintain a decent quality of life. And in a lot of cities, 100 grand doesn't even give you a decent life. Like you might get the validation from friends and family, like, oh, you're making six figures. But when you actually look at how you're living day to day, you might feel like, hey, I'm making six figures, but it's not really doing much for my life. A lot of guys are just like one medical expense, one car accident, one electric bill away from having their life screwed over. So that's not really the kind of life you want to get stuck in, because even though you're making a higher salary, you're in a constant state of stress and you might not be prepared for any unexpected events that life could throw at you. And you might feel stressed and embarrassed about it, right? Because you're working 50, 60 hours a week. But you feel like, oh, why do I need to check my bank account before I go out for drinks? Why do I feel so behind in life? Why am I not the image of success that I pictured when I thought, hey, when I make this amount of salary, I'll really be living the high life? But you're not actually living that high life. You might be stuck in that vicious cycle of vacations you don't really enjoy, weekly commute, you got to put on a fake smile with your coworkers, even though you want to slap them across the face. You might be caught up in that kind of lifestyle. You're basically in a lifestyle where it looks respectable from the outside, but you're caught in a trap where you're not getting a lot of value out of life. Even though you're pulling in major cash, you're not getting major value from that. You earn just enough money just to upgrade your prison cell, but not enough to break out of prison. So instead of just trying to, upgrade the walls of your prison cell, how about we break out and go to a different environment, man? How about we go to a place where you can take that same amount or maybe even significantly less and live a higher quality of life? So when I was back in America, I had an industrial engineering degree, very respectable. Everyone knows that engineers make a lot of money. And I could have walked like a normal path, right? I could have got like a normal job. Everyone would have patted me on the back, being like, yeah, Danny, you got an engineering degree. You're living that six-figure salary life, man. I could have worked for a life of everyone else's approval while simultaneously hating my own life. But I decided against that. And at the time, I had about $15,000 in student loan debt. I had a few credit cards to help me survive. I didn't have massive savings. Basically, I was in a position where I could have played it safe and just lived the life that other people told me, a life that I knew wouldn't fit me, but would have gave me the approval of society. So I decided to take a risk, man. I decided to go overseas. I got an English teaching job. And my first job wasn't perfect, by the way. Like I left America, got a job teaching overseas. My boss, her and I didn't really see eye to eye on some things. The work hours were a little bit long. But that job, it put me in a new environment where I could be myself. I could have lots of free time to work on my own hobbies and interests. And I was able to meet a lot of opportunities that I had not seen in the States. I was able to become the person I wanted to be. And I got a lot more value out of my life that I was living and the hours that I was working and the money I was earning. So yeah, when I got overseas, you know, I became a painter for a while. I started making content. I got pretty popular on social media. I developed my own product, started making travel content like this. I basically met a lot of opportunities that weren't visible to me in the States in my current position. And yeah, my life is basically what I want it to be. I'm living the exact life I want. So yeah, sometimes you don't need to become a perfect man in the place you are now. Sometimes you just need to relocate. By the way, I offer a free 15-minute call if you guys want to talk about English teaching. Maybe we can build out a plan for how this system could work for you. I'll put the link in the pinned comment and description. So there's this book by Tim Ferriss called The 4-Hour Workweek, and it has a concept that a lot of men should understand. It's about absolute income versus relative income. So you might be making like 100K, 120K, 140K in one environment, and that's the absolute income that you're making. You're making a lot of money, but you might not be getting a lot of value in the environment that you're in. Because relative income, it asks a question like, how much value are you actually getting out of the money that you're making? Like, you're putting in all these hours. How much of that goes to rent? How much of that goes to food? How much does that go to actual life enjoyment? And the reality is that a man making 100 grand, living in an expensive city that eats most of his money, working 50, 60 hours a week, might be living a lower quality of life than a guy in a different part of the world making like, you know, less than $50,000 or $40,000 a year. The guy who's making less than you could be living a much higher quality of life than you are. But a lot of guys can't process that, right? Because a lot of guys think, oh, 100 grand sounds a lot more impressive than 40 grand. But really, you got to think about, what are you giving up for that validation of saying you earn like 6 figures? So you're probably giving up the best years of your life. You're probably dealing with constant stress. You're probably missing out on a lot of life opportunities that you could be enjoying. Like, there are guys overseas who are not making a ton of money compared to like what the average American might be making, but they're living a higher quality of life because they have access to higher quality food at a lower price. They have access to a better social life. The dating is a lot more reasonable in other countries compared to what you might be dealing with in the States. Guys who are making significantly less money than you are living a significantly higher quality of life. So a lot of men in America have very high purchasing power, but their quality of life is so low that it doesn't really matter, right? Like, you're pouring water into a bucket and the bucket's filled with holes, and you keep thinking, oh, let me just earn more higher salary, and you're working more hours, you're giving more of your life force away, and the bucket is just filled with holes, so the water just keeps pouring out no matter how much water you pour into it. So instead of continuing to pour water into a broken bucket, how about you change the environment, you change the system? That's geographic arbitrage. So instead of asking how much money I need to live comfortably in the States, ask yourself, how much do I need to live a significantly better life overseas? But a lot of guys make the mistake of thinking they need an American salary overseas. So they think, how can I make 100 grand overseas so I can live the same quality of life in the States? When in reality, you do not need to make 100 grand to live a high quality of life overseas. Like, honestly, you know, probably 4 grand a month in a lot of countries could give you the same kind of quality of life as a person making, you know, 100K or more in the States. So yeah, don't confuse a big salary in the States with a big life, because, you know, you're giving away a lot of your life just for the validation of saying you earn a high salary. And the awesome thing about geographic arbitrage is that it takes significantly less to get extreme value overseas. So you don't honestly need a Lamborghini, you don't need a yacht. Those are just status symbols that we carry about in the States. You know, we care about flashing how much money we got, but overseas, what matters is having freedom, the ability to do what you want with your time, being around people that you actually like and enjoy spending time with. That's what really matters in real life. And you get to enjoy that at a much lower cost overseas. So you can have a high quality of life, you can have a nice apartment, live in a better city, beautiful women. You can have a lot of that stuff at a significantly lower cost than it would cost you in the States, and you'll be having a much better overall life. Because when a man is constantly under financial pressure, he's mentally exhausted, you can't really think clear, right? Like, when you get off work, you just want to drown yourself in some anime. Maybe you might watch some Dragon Ball Z, might eat some potato chips, some hamburgers, just to keep you afloat. It's really hard to advance your life when you're stuck in that kind of cycle of extreme pain and then relieving the pain with some kind of dopamine activity. But when your cost of living drops, the expenses drop, the stress drops, your brain starts to think, okay, what kind of person can I become now? Like, I got all this mental ability that I can use. what kind of guy can I become? What kind of life do I want to build? And that's where life overseas really gets real, because you could wake up in Thailand, you could walk on the beach, you know, go to the gym, eat fresh meals. You can do what you want overseas, and you can develop the kind of life you want to have. But that's really very difficult to do if you're in the States and you don't have that kind of mental capacity to do that. Now, that's not saying that life overseas is going to be easy. Like, you will deal with struggle. Like, you might have some language barriers. You might have some visa issues occasionally. You know, the world is constantly changing. But those obstacles are surmountable. Like, you can handle those obstacles. But you're not competing in a broken system like you are in the States. Like, in the States, you're kind of in a broken system that I don't think you can really win. Even if you compete at the highest level, you're still stuck in a crappy system. So as a guy who's been living overseas for 12 years, you know, I did a year in South Korea, 10 years in China. Now I'm here in Thailand, 100% online. I can tell you that you open up and you become a different person when you put yourself in a different environment. You aren't dealing with the same stress and the same pressures as guys in the States. You have a lot more room to explore and become the person you want to be. You stop competing in like a crowded environment in the States. You know, you're in an environment where, you know, this woman here, she's not even that attractive. She has too many options, man. You know, you might be 6 foot tall, 6-figure, 6-pack, and she thinks she's too good for you because she has a lot of other guys who are similar that you can choose from. But when you go overseas, it's like you have the opportunity to differentiate yourself without really needing to try. Like, you're naturally differentiated just from where you come from, the way you think, the way you speak, the actions you take. You're naturally different than a lot of other guys in the same environment. So you might be saying, all right, Danny, I hear you, but what do I do, man? Like, let me save up 100 grand first, then I might be ready to move overseas, right? Now, I'm not telling you that savings are bad, but I am telling you that if you think you need to save some massive amount of money just to move overseas, you're thinking in the wrong way, man. Like, what you need is enough to help you get overseas, survive, and give you something you can build off of. So that's why I recommend English teaching. English teaching is the fastest way for American men to get overseas making money, making consistent money, and it gives you a lot of free time and access to things like visa, healthcare, etc. It allows you to stay in other countries for a long period of time. I've been overseas doing it for 12 years. That's why I recommend that as like the MVP, the minimum viable product you need to help you get overseas and get, like, you know, a strong foundation. Like, English teaching is the basic strong foundation to get you overseas, to help you live a life of comfort where you can explore your different interests, learn different things, pursue different hobbies, side hustles. It gives you the platform that you need to build and expand off of. So I consider English teaching to be the cheat code for us Western men, like us American men. It really allows us to go overseas and live a high quality of life, not have to work that hard. I'm living a way higher quality of life than I would in the States. Like, trust me, guys. And you're talking to a guy who has an engineering degree, right? And I have very high earning potential in the States. And I'm telling you, I'm getting a much higher quality of life overseas at significantly less cost of living. So if you're interested in that, I offer a free 15-minute call. We can hop on a call and talk about, hey, here are your options with English teaching. I can find out your goals. We can come up with a timeline, etc. I'll put the link in the pinned comment description so you can click that. And, you know, we can map out a plan for you. And I also have a free Quickstart English Teaching guide. If you just want an overview of the teaching field, it can break down like the different types of jobs you can have, the types of money you can make. It's very useful. So I made that guide. Just click the link, put your email, it'll be sent to you. And also, you know, I have a lot of content over here. I'm a content creator. I do like a lot of travel content. If you're interested in seeing like some behind the scenes stuff, some stuff I don't release publicly, I have a lot of things I talk about that I don't put publicly on my channel. Click the join button under this video, sign up for the Baht Bros Club, man. The Baht Bros Club is an exclusive membership where you get to request videos. You can see all kind of live streams that I don't make public. I take those off my channel, put those in the private areas. A lot of members requested videos. Go back there and join the Baht Bros Club, man. You can get all kind of content to help you better understand this overseas life. And you're getting it from a guy who's a veteran. I've been doing this for over 12 years. I got over a decade in the overseas game. And I'm helping other guys like you live a life of freedom and comfort. So yeah, hopefully you guys got value out of today's video. I just want to tell you guys, like, it doesn't matter if the American dream is dead or not, if you're too exhausted to enjoy it. What you gotta do is you gotta study your purchasing power. You gotta see like what opportunities are out there where I can get maximum value for what I do make and without needing to work myself into an early grave. There's a different system that you can be part of rather than the one you're caught in now. So keep that in mind, and I'll see you guys in the next video.